Part 2 in how the Democrats are cooked. For the first part, we see how the Democrats continue to hemorrhage voters from their electoral coalition and continue to have a brand, message, and authenticity issue. That's the short and medium term. This part will dive into how this is actually much more conclusive, much more long term. For instance, look at the Electoral College geography. Every 10 years, the Constitution requires a census, and from that census is derived the Electoral College. 538 electoral votes, 270 to win, 100 from the Senate and the 50 states of the American Constitutional Republic, 3 from the District of Columbia, our capital that the Constitution makes clear cannot be a state, and 535 from the U.S. House of Representatives across the 50 states. Now, some states with lower populations only carry 1 representative and therefore 3 electoral votes. North and South Dakota, Alaska, for instance. People moving in and out of these states are not going to change the balance of power in the country very much. However, large blue states, which are simply almost always large blue cities that have been some version of post-social fabric since the 1960s, well, these states losing population like they have been, they could dramatically alter the balance of electoral power. Latest estimates from earlier this year show the 312 to 226 electoral vote victory that Trump won, if repeated for the current 2030 projections, would actually expand to either 321 electoral votes for the Republicans or as high as 323 electoral votes for the Republicans. Perhaps the greatest form of voting of all right now is the voting that is going on with the feet of Americans, and not just Republicans are moving from these blue states and into red states. And we know it's not just Republicans because there is rightly a long-standing moral panic about blue state voters taking their politics with them. Where does that come from? Yet the blue state voters of all stripes are leaving behind are almost always uniformly trending red anyway, which tells a similar story. Blue city, blue state outcomes are not trending in a direction that people can objectively tolerate. And we know this from the people that are voting with their feet. You can ignore reality for a while, but you cannot ignore the consequences of ignoring reality. Put another way, 2024 Harris states have lost over 2.7 million people to internal migration, and this excludes international migration. The numbers would be even worse at the census level if illegal criminal migrants were excluded, which they should be. Meanwhile, 2024 Trump states have gained over 4.6 million people. This is what is powering and soon locking in a political future where Republicans have a decided advantage. And the advantage doesn't merely stop at the decision to pack up and move elsewhere for greater freedom, greater opportunities, and a higher quality of life for a lower cost of living, especially in housing. The real trend, the real reason Democrats are cooked, are trends that go beyond an electoral map of the 2030s that would elect Republicans, even if Republicans fail to win a single battleground state north of the Mason-Dixon line. Democrats are not having as many children, and they are culturally reinforcing themselves to have fewer children. Their policies make it harder and harder to have children. Meanwhile, if Republicans were their own country, not only is Republican America having at or above replacement rate birth rates, but that growing partisan family gap will manifest in the census of 2030, the census of redistricting that is for the future in 2040, the census redistricting of the future in 2050, and so on and so forth. But Troy, surely not all of those children of Republicans will vote as Republicans as they age. Okay, true. But that concept works both ways. It's actually usually a wash at best. So let's look at the demography and the partisan family gap. The interplay of demography, geography, and ideology in American political life was a central portion of the emerging populist majority thesis. And no amount of progressive hegemony over the culture will be able to combat a rising tide of the Republican family advantages manifesting as electoral advantages. If Democrats wanted to win the future, they really did need to win in 2016, but they lost to Donald Trump. They really did need to win in 2024. They again lost to Donald Trump. While in 2028, they will get to have a go at it with the same map from 24. As part 1 in this analysis discussed, that victory currently lacks a leader, a coherent message, or really any likable brand, and so much more. You see, the children really are our future. Always have been, always will be. In the last half decade or more, Democrat rates of married couples with young children have gone down in the Midwest, which doesn't bode well for them in those battleground states either. And it's gone down in the West as well. Republicans that are married couples with young children have gone up dramatically, especially in the South and in the West, which doesn't bode well for any theory of the case that Democrats can improve with those growing areas. In fact, there's really only one last hope for the Democrats at this point: replacement rate migration. Attempted under Biden, big time, and will be attempted again under a hypothetical future Democrat president. Whether they campaign as a moderate, a progressive, it does not matter. This is their only way forward now. And that's what makes the Republican-sponsored Save America Act the most important policy the Republican-held Congress can pass right now. But time is running out. The long-term trends look good, but isn't the whole point of all of this to turn around civilization itself? And if that is the point, winning is merely a necessary first step. Waging power for good, waging power in pursuit and in service of civilization, that is the point. And sometimes that will require waging power against barbarism, no matter what the optics look like. I'm Troy Olson, Sergeant-at-Arms of the New York Young Republican Club, co-author of The Emerging Populist Majority, and Army veteran of the Global War on Terror. This has been a presentation of Civilization Itself.